Okay. Then there was a guy, now Walt collaborated with me on this. There used to be a guy in the bakery called the Grease Monkey. Have you ever heard that expression?
Yes.
Now, when I was a little kid, I thought maybe he was actually some sort of different species. Because he was a very odd-looking character. He was a guy, and Walt was telling me this the other day, that he had long, curly fingernails that weren't cut. You know, he'd have, you know how your nails are supposed to end at the end of your... His nails would go on and on and on, be long and curly, greasy,
gross.
filthy, dirty. Walt said they were never cut, they were many inches long, and he never said a word either. So when I was really little, when I saw this guy running around the bakery, and by the way, I guess the Grease Monkey lubricates machines.
Right.
But I thought maybe he was some, you know, I never saw any zoo drop this creature off. But I'm thinking monkey, Grease Monkey. You know, when you're little, you know, you're 4 years old or whatever.
Yeah, you see more. Everything's literal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a monkey.
Cool.
You know. So, as I said, I never saw anybody drop him off, and I don't know how he got there. But he was a very strange-looking character.
Do we, speaking of the bakery, do we have any pictures, you know, of like Dad in the bakery or anything like that?
There's one
We have at least one.
I think it's in with the Christmas decorations. I have to go look for it.
Okay, well, we'll find it later.
Well, we did a little play acting. I think it was me, Walt, Karen, and Marilyn probably. I was pretending to be one of the famous customers. Iconic Mr. Salty, I think.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, right, yeah. I know
It used to be right
do you
over
want me
there.
to hold it, Mom?
Well, it's a little hard to hold it.
So
All right, I'll
You
hold
can take a break, too.
No, it's okay. We can go a little longer.
I'll go look for that picture.
Mom is looking for the picture. There's Mom. Little cameo.
Oh, don't show me.
Too late. So what about, I was thinking one of my favorite stories was, didn't you guys, you and your brothers have some competition about who could watch whatever movie?
Oh, yeah.
Saturday night movie or something? Or,
I wrote it down here, little notes. It was called the $1 Million Movie competition. I think mostly it was Walt and me. The $1 Million Movie, they had this Gone with the Wind theme song, and it was on 7:30 at night, 9 o'clock at night, 10:30 at night. You know, it was on 3 times every weekday night, the same movie.
Yeah.
And then it was Saturday and Sunday, so we would have a competition at the bakery.
Yeah.
This is before we were used as store workers. Who could watch the $1 Million Movie, whatever the movie was that week, the most that week?
Yeah.
So like if the movie
Stimulating childhood.
well, I'm sure in those days my mother was so busy working downstairs in the bakery or whatever that she was glad that somebody was helping her out, namely the crawling eye was on that way. So that was one of the...
Did you have to stay awake throughout the movie? I mean, how did that...
I think basically you had to. I don't know if maybe we both fell asleep, but so that was the $1 Million Movie. But I was going to tell you some of the stories of I call it bakery advertising.
Oh, right. Your entrepreneurial youth, right?
Yeah, I thought I was. Yeah. Well, one example was I tried to convince. I don't know how hard, but I once said to my friend, I said, why don't you sell coffee? Or, coffee to go, or put it on a few tables? Nah, that would never work. So he wouldn't do it. And, because Dunkin' Donuts already existed.
Right.
And, Starbucks is...
Starbucks probably didn't exist.
Yes.
I can't find it right now. I have to pull it.
Yeah, we know.
It's okay.
We don't know all about it.
Yeah.
So he said no, it wouldn't... Anyway, one of the signs I made was, before I go there, one of the issues when Walt and I especially worked in the bakery or the store, we used to wash the pans in the back in the afternoon, like 3 o'clock, which was not very nice in July.
Yeah.
It'd be like 90, 100 degrees out.
It sounds miserable.
And you'd have hot water, and you'd have 40, 50, seems like it, these huge pans. You'd have to wash them in hot water. Oh, it was not a pleasant job.
Yeah.
But anyway, and they would have us do things like help out, like when the bakers were making buns or rolls, like, pull out the pans or the boards and, line them up 8 by 7 or whatever, or
Right.
6 by 4, whatever it happened to be. But anyway, so I remember constantly asking Uncle Frank, why don't you show us how to make these hard rolls? They would make the hard roll by hand,
Yeah.
and Walt and I were told, it takes 30 years to learn how to make a hard roll. So I don't know in retrospect if they meant that the bakers were slow learners, or I said to Walt the other day, well, maybe if we had signed some kind of covenant or agreement at the age of 10 or 11 that we would devote ourselves, our life to staying at the bakery. We wouldn't go to high school, we wouldn't go to college.
Yeah.
We'd just stay there. We promised to put in 30 years. Maybe then they would have taught us how to make hard rolls.
Yeah.
But they never would. So.
Yeah.
And I don't think the hard roll technology was that complicated. And anyway, the baker was July 17th, 1967. John Archotsky. Don't ask me how to spell it. I never saw it.
Yeah.
Posting. He actually was making a hard roll and he died. I was standing next to him, and he actually dropped dead right there at the bench, and I caught him.
And so, wait, how old were you when you caught him?
17.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were old enough to catch him. Wow.
Well, he wasn't that big a guy, really.
Jeez.
He was kind of.
And
short.
so, do you know what the cause was? Some kind of heart attack, stroke, or?
Don't really know, but
Yeah.
Later on, being a lawyer, I said, well,
Yeah.
he probably had some kind of flour breathing induced disease.
Oh,
Of
really?
some kind.
Oh, you think it was related to that? Yeah.
Because he could. I remember he used to come into the store. On those hot days, he'd come into the store, which was air conditioned. The store was only.
Yeah.
He'd come in and he'd stand there and go. He'd be huffing and puffing and
Jeez.
just trying to catch his breath, cool down.
Yeah.
And because the baker shop, you couldn't air condition that because the dough had a, it had to rise and all that.
Right.
You can't do that with the big stuff. So
Yeah.
they had to work in whatever the outdoor temperature was, would be what it was back there.
Jeez.
During the summer, anyway.
Yeah.
So anyway, but when I was in the store, which I enjoyed doing a lot, I used to make up signs and come up with ideas to sell things that were not selling. And one of the signs that I had, they used to make, most of the stuff at the bakery I liked. Some of it I didn't like. One of which was tea biscuits.
It doesn't sound that tasty.
Well, actually today I would like them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they had raisins in them and they were kind of flaky and you put jelly on them. Today would be pretty good, but as a kid I didn't like them. Weren't sweet enough, I guess.
Yeah.
And they had raisins in them, but also the raisins would kind of stick out of the tea biscuit, and a lot of times the flies would be there, and you couldn't tell the fly from the raisin. As you went to get it, the fly would. Honest to God, the flies were like camouflage by the raisins.
Oh, God.
So anyway, I made a sign up because they didn't usually sell very well. Not that they made that many of them. I called them extra-ordinary tea biscuits. In other words, not extraordinary so much as these are
very ordinary.
Extraordinary tea biscuits.
Yeah.
Now, Aunt Helen didn't like my signs, I guess, because we had shifts. Like the flashes would be there for so much time in the day, and then the candies would come on later or different days. And she would walk into the store and just immediately take all my little cardboard signs down, which I was offended at.
But she wouldn't even ask you, right?
Didn't say again. Children are to be seen but not heard. And even though I was already, getting up there like at least 13 or 14, right?
Yeah.
She
even
probably
still
felt that way.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why I think she was the one that said that when I was younger. But anyway.
Yeah.
I forgave her. We got along great later on, but
yeah.
So extraordinary tea biscuits, and then I wrote here, with flies, no extra charge. And I said that.
Yeah.
And then they had a problem in the mid '60s. All of a sudden, the rye bread kept showing up with cracks in it. Instead of having a nice smooth crust. Did you hear this one already?
Yeah.
I call it the flavor crack.
Yeah.
So I make signs up. It's a whole batch of rye bread. Would come out 30 or 40 rye breads with these big, gruesome-looking cracks. So I put a sign up featuring flavor. Well, I figured I had to do something to try to make it sound like that was deliberate.
So did you ever get a customer saying, "Oh, I'd like to try that with the flavor crack," or?
I think think maybe one or two.
One or two. Yeah, like what's
maybe
that?
I'm just wishful thinking.
Yeah.
But anyway, or maybe they ignored me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Then, of course, around this happened around Thanksgiving or Christmas. The bakery was like a creature of habit. Like Grandma Cohout, every night, Keith, she would do. I don't know what they called it. Bob would probably remember. She'd fill out a cardboard and tell the bakers, tomorrow make, so many rye bread, so many white bread,
Right.
2 pans of raisin buns, 2 pans of crumb buns, and they'd leave the cardboard out when the bakers came in at whatever it was 4 in the morning. They'd say, "Oh, this is what Mrs. Cohout wants today to be made."
Right.
So, for whatever reason, they would get into a habit. Like every day, they'd do a pan of hot dog rolls. Okay.
Right.
Even for like Thanksgiving and Christmas, and so nobody's gonna come to the bakery and buy hot dog rolls on Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Of course.
Even if you were
Right.
gonna have hot dogs, would you go out in public and admit that you're looking for rolls? No.
Yeah.
So I decided to call them. I call it the birth of the holiday figure roll. I put a sign up: holiday figure rolls just out. So that maybe.
Did that increase sales?
Well, there was only like 1 pan of them, so what was it? 30 or 40
Yeah.
rolls, I don't remember exactly.
Right.
But if you didn't do something like that, you would sell 0.
Yeah.
So at least this way, I was
So-
able to help sell a few of them.
So Grandma Cohout went. How old were you when she, passed away?
Oh, I was in law school.
Oh, you were in law school.
Yeah,
Okay.
I remember I was
Okay.
studying for the T&E exam, my third-year law school, May 1st,
Okay.
1975. And she happened to die on April 13th, so that interrupted my studies of T&E, Trust and Estate.
I see.
But I got my passing grade, so.
Oh, so Uncle Frank, he didn't really take over the bakery totally until then, or he was.
No, he basically ran it.
Yeah.
No, she was sick for a few years, so
Oh, okay.
I would say from like, late 60s on to,
Yeah.
when she died, he was kind of running it.
Okay.
He had a lot of control of it. I'm just
Yeah.
saying that she was the one, when I was younger, I remember her
Yeah,
making the card
yeah.
out for the
Right,
order
right,
for the
right.
next day for the bakers, make so many of this, so many of that,
And then your grandfather, her husband,
Yeah.
you never met him,
No,
right?
he died in 1943, which was 7 years before I was born.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I never met him. Obviously, he was probably a go-getter.
Yeah.
Here's a guy that came from whatever Czechoslovakia was known as,
Right.
in the, late teens or whatever. And he came over to America and he helped out his brother's bakery in Garfield, and his brother had married Grandma's sister. So it was 2 brothers marrying 2 sisters.
Right.
And then they went and got married and opened their own bakery in Clifton,
Yeah.
which is kind of neat. So
Right.
they were all pretty industrious people.
Right.
And then he was able to,
But-
do well enough to, buy the country. And,
Yeah.
And make a lake out of it and all that.
So was the bakery in Garfield also, same level of success, or do you any idea? Or
That I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
think it was quite as well run, or
no?
because I remember going there a couple of times and thinking their stuff wasn't quite as good.
Hmm.
But they did have the jelly crumb bun, which one year I talked to Uncle Frank into bringing over to the Clifton bakery
Ah.
because he didn't have it. And every year he would close down for 10 days from the end of July to the beginning of August,
Yeah.
which according to like Walter Simeon, those were the only 10 days all year we made any money because the bakers were off, so you didn't have to pay the bakers.
Yeah. It seems like he was maybe a little penny wise, pound foolish about some things.
Yeah, because like for example,
Yeah.
we'd be filling the jelly donuts with they have a machine in the back. You put the donut on the thing like that, and it
Yeah.
kind of automatically throws the jelly in.
Yeah.
And he'd come and he'd tell me, "Oh no, you're putting too much jelly in." So he'd go like that. He'd do like a half shot.
Yeah.
And I said, "Uncle Frank, yeah, you might make more money on that one donut that's selling
Right.
for 6 cents."
Yeah.
But don't you
Customer,
think some of
yeah.
the customers are gonna say, "I'm going
Yeah.
back there and buying those jelly donuts. There's no
Right.
jelly in them."
Right, they're trying to jip me,
Yeah.
right? And then I want all the jelly I can get, so I'll go
So
somewhere
anyway,
else.
what happened was
Mm.
when they were closing for that 10 days, he was open 3 or 4 days. The bakers would last work on Sunday.
Yeah.
Then they'd be off for 2 weeks,
Uh-huh.
let's say. But he'd have the store open Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, selling off what they had left over from Sunday that was still okay to sell. And then he'd supplement it by going to, among other places, Co-outs in Garfield,
Hmm.
and getting like a pan of jelly crumb buns,
I
a
see.
bunch of fresh rolls, some fresh bread.
Hmm.
He'd buy that from them. I assume he had to pay 'em. And he'd bring
Yeah.
that over, and we'd stay open until around Thursday of that week. So we'd go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, during which time some of us, including Aunt Emily, would come in and we'd be cleaning up the bakery, and, you know, scrubbing down the store and the floors.
Right.
You know, basically doing the annual cleanup.
Right,
Hopefully we
right.
did it more than that.
Yeah.
But
Let's hope.
I remember vividly, you know, every July,
Yeah.
late July, because it was usually hot.
Right.
And the Kennys, that was their time in the country, so they weren't involved.
Their time was August or July.
Kennys?
Yeah.
No, they went June.
Oh, they went June.
Right after
Oh,
school
I
went
see.
out, like mid-June to the end of
And when-
July, first couple days of August.
When did you guys go?
We went right after that.
Oh,
like,
okay.
like first thing in August.
Okay.
You know, my dad would take 5 weeks off or something.
Wow.
You know, at least toward the end of his working.
Right. Right.
When we were, you know, kids and teenagers and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'd be off. He'd be there August 5th, like to Labor Day, whatever that was.
Yeah.
And then they go back to Clifton, and then they manned the bakery when we were there.
Right. Right.
And the Myers, I don't know exactly. They would come in a little bit of the time when we were up there, I guess. Maybe it was after. See, Uncle Frank, the bakery was closed like July 27th to August 5th.
Yeah.
And then they'd come up and stay in the little house. The co-ops would stay there.
Ah.
I think when they went back to open the bakery again, I think Aunt Emily and Uncle Ted and the Myers came up and went in that house. I think that's what happened.
I see.
But we had the big house because we were older. We were there
More of
first.
you
There
or
were more of
whatever.
us. Again,
At least
all
at
the
that
Myers
point, right?
certainly caught up.
Yeah.
And so did the co-ops. They all had 4 kids.
Well, obviously, yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway.
Yep. Okay.